So, like you guys know, I like Battlefield 5. But there's one thing that as soon as I experienced it, it irked me and just, just made my stomach curdle. It was the women in Battlefield 5. When they die, it is something I don't enjoy. And I didn't think that would be an issue because, in Fallout, there's women in Fallout too, right? In Fallout 4, you kill a bunch of raider women that are out there and stuff like that. But there's something about the way Battlefield portrays their death that makes it pretty realistic. And I just don't like it. And I think with trying to be inclusive with Battlefield 5, which I have no problem with, in a game about war and killing people, like listening to a woman being slaughtered, and that's what it sounds like to me, a woman being slaughtered. Like the way that they portray that. It kind of desensitizes us to certain things. Like growing up, like as a man, like I see how I've been desensitized over time, and that desensitization kind of helps me with my job as a firefighter paramedic to deal with gruesome situations. I'm able to separate myself from that event. I can go home and not bother me as much as maybe you or someone else. But being that person who wants to help people, and protect people, it just doesn't sit well with me to be killing women in this game.
I mean, for those of you listening to the podcast, we've talked about this before, but whenever Battlefield was first announced, people were like, some of the gamers were more or less upset in the fact that there were women in this, and they didn't feel like it was historically accurate to have women fighting on the battlefield, just from a historical perspective.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know much in the history of like how many females were in. I mean, what I remember is like, Rosie the Riveter and stuff like that. Like while men were off to war, they were going to work in the factories and stuff and working on the stuff to help aid the war and things of that nature. So that was like what the women were doing at the time when the men were off fighting and stuff like that. But I never thought about it until you brought it up. But like, this like Battlefield has always been a very intense kind of like gruesome sounding game.
Right.
Like when you go up and like stab somebody, like I haven't stabbed a female avatar yet, but like I could imagine like when you go up to do the finishing move to like reach around them and slice their throat or whatever,
right,
it could be pretty intense. I guess there is a line. I mean, like where do you draw the line when it comes to games portraying killing? Because it started out like games were just like you played Spyro the Dragon, you're like a dragon running around like shooting fire at things and like killing little creature deals or whatever. Not a big deal. Then you have these war games that come out where you actually are killing people. Right. And then you have like I'm sure everybody remembers when Call of Duty, I think it was 4 came out, and like you had that airport sequence where you had to go in there and like mass slaughter people as an enemy or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was like
that's
brutal, horrific scene that in a way can do that desensitization. And then now like this is the first time in a game where we've had we're consciously like just, it's not like you're fighting an enemy that you know is an enemy. In this case, it's just like people fighting people. Right. But there's females in this thing. And then what happens if like the next step, like they take it to where like there's kids, like that would be
exactly.
I mean, you've like Dead Space had babies that you killed and stuff like that, which that was messed up. But also at the same time, they were like
they're alien,
baby things or whatever. Still, it's not good. Right. So like that is kind of disturbing in a way. And
so it's like now you're gonna have kids playing this game. Obviously it's rated M for mature, but still, it's like teenagers, younger generation coming up. People already have an issue with men being violent towards women and stuff like that. And there's gonna be people out there, I'm sure, they're like, "Fuck yeah, I get to kill women." Like hear them massacred and stuff, and like hopefully obviously it's not like I guarantee you it's not a gigantic portion of the population. I'm sure it's like 0.001% or something like that. But why would we want to put this out there for people to consume?
And I still don't think that gaming is the cause of the violence that everybody's talking about. But like, it doesn't help the situation. In a way, if somebody already has something planted in them that is, that they already have pent up rage inside. Right. It's going to feel it more than it is going to hinder anything.
That's just my take on it. Let us know what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Does anyone care?
There you go.
Who knows?
There you go. head on over to thegamer.net for our full podcast episode for our weekly game impressions and top headlines of the week.
That's one of me doing an interview. Here's one of all of us. We'll mix some cool stuff in there.
Things.
Brett's also right here.
Like this video, subscribe, keep up with all the latest video game news and opinions that you care about right here on The Inner Gamer.